Hello everybody, Ali here. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. I know some of us have been extremely busy watching Gary Barlow's crooner sessions at 5 o'clock, where he duets virtually with somebody different. Particularly enjoyed the Peter Andre one the other day, although I was disappointed they didn't do Mysterious Girl. Anyway, this video is all about raising money for the NHS, not just helping them with resources, but also supporting them with their mental health, with all the difficult things they're coming across on the front line of this COVID-19 battle. So hashtag get your shirts out for the NHS. We've all done our dream teams now, so let's dig out our old shirts. You can either do a video like I am, talking through different shirts, or just get them out on the floor, take a picture, post it, tag the link that I'm supplying with this video, the Just Giving link, and tag in and challenge your friends, and let's try and raise as much money as we possibly can for our NHS heroes. So let's get cracking. My first shirt, a bit of a vintage one. The 97-98 Premier League one, the old TDK sponsors, and on the back, none other than Attilio Lombardo. I've had a really great time doing this. It really takes you back to different seasons and looking at the back of the shirts to the different players that you sort of idolised. And Lombardo joining Palace is obviously still quite surreal. As I've touched on, we've all been doing our dream teams, and when I was thinking through my all-time Palace team, naturally when you think about the right-hand side, you think about Wilfried Zaha, and I thought, I can't put Wilf in on the right because it's got to be Attilio Lombardo. So Wilf goes to the left in my, although some might argue he's more effective from the left. I mean, how Lombardo came to Palace, don't know. But I do know that Mark Goldberg obviously threw loads of money at the club. He joined for 1.6 million from Juventus, scoring on his debut. Still remember the goal. Perhaps the best thing about it was the song that we sang for Lombardo. Just one Lombardo, give it him to me. He's from Juventus in Italy. He's got no hair, but we don't care. We've got Lombardo from Italy. Absolute legend. I mean, the crazy thing is he actually stayed on a little bit the next season when we were in the equivalent of the Championship after getting relegated. And even crazier, he was also player manager for a very small period. Ultimately, we got relegated that season, but you can never take away the fact that Lombardo played for Palace. Next shirt. The next shirt follows in on quite nicely because we spent all that money. Goldberg threw all that money. Turned out Goldberg didn't have that money. And the next shirt is pretty poor in quality. I mean, we've gone from Adidas to TFG Sports. No sponsor. And that was because ultimately Goldberg didn't have the money, and we went into administration. And this sort of explains, this was the first shirt, I think, of the Simon Jordan year when he came in and saved us from admin. But back of the shirt is not a player. It's none other than Steve Coppell. Now, it was really interesting for me to watch the 1990 FA Cup final the other day on the telly and see him in the dugout there. But for me, Steve Coppell is a hero for what he did for us in that administration year. After Terry Venables ran off, when the money ran out, he came in and steadied the ship and ultimately kept us in the division. I remember at the end of the season him throwing his jacket into the crowd. He was a real hero of mine. And I remember actually when him and Simon Jordan fell out and he left in that summer, I still remember this is what's weird about this, it really brings back vivid memories. I remember being in Florida at the time, finding out the news that he was no longer manager, and that was quite heartbreaking. But he really, galvanised the club. And when you think about administrations, they're awful times as a fan of a club because you genuinely fear that your club is going to go out of existence or business or thrown out of the Football League at least. Well, actually, I do look back on that time a little bit fondly because it really creates a siege mentality in the stands, and the atmosphere was brilliant. All the players and the fans were together. I mean, the real strange thing that came back to me there is that we had Ashley Cole on loan, and a lot of people now remember Ashley Cole as a sort of a mercenary who, swerved his car when Arsenal didn't offer him an extra fight, only offered him an extra $5,000. But for me, he's just always in my head. He's this young lad who came to us on loan from Arsenal, just playing his heart out like the others did in difficult circumstances. And I remember at the time thinking, this guy's going to go on, he's going to play for England, and he really did, didn't he? So I mean, he got a bit of a hard press. Some of that then came from the fact that he split up with the nation's sweetheart at the time, Cheryl Cole. But look what's happened since. Cheryl Cole's now split up with Liam Payne from One Direction. So there's two sides to every story. But that shirt, fantastic. Not the best in quality, but brought back real memories of when, as a club, we came together and survived that quite scary period of going into administration. Next one. It's the away sash. Palace fans love the away sash. And on the back, Who Let the Dog Out, which is obviously a play on the song Who Let the Dogs Out. Alexa, play Who Let the Dogs Out. Who Let the Dogs Out by Zaha from Apple Music. So something like this. The dog out. Ooh, 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 ooh. Alexa, off. So, every time that chant came up, there's a real energy about us, and you always knew Doogie could sort of flip the game with a bit of class. Ultimately, why did I have Who Let the Dog Out on the back of my shirt? Ultimately, I did that because he scored a really amazing goal last minute, Edgeley Park, to keep us in what's now the Championship. It was Simon Jordan's first year, like I touched on previously. Steve Coppell went, in came Alan Smith. Simon Jordan himself would admit it wasn't the best appointment. And then Stevie Kemba performed absolute miracles and kept us up in the last few games. I was there at Edgeley Park, and like I said, it's amazing the memories these shirts can bring back. I can remember sort of vividly everything about that day at Edgeley Park. Stopping my friend running on the pitch, which I'm kind of sorry for now, because most Palace fans did run on the pitch that day. Real famous shirt, sash one, and Who Let the Dog Out. Like that one, really brought back memories. Next one. This one is from the 2004-2005 season, and when we were in the Premier League. Now, who I have on the back of this one is quite surprising. You would think it would be Andy Johnson, who that season we were in the Premier League scored the most goals for an Englishman in the Premier League, but actually it is Wayne Routledge. Bit of a controversial figure amongst Palace fans, because he went to Tottenham and he was sort of angling for a move to Tottenham throughout that season. Simon Jordan even says that in January he'd been tipped off that Routledge had been waiting in a hotel near Tottenham. I don't know whether that's actually true or not. But I actually always had a bit of love for Routledge, and I guess he was on the back of my shirt based on the promotion-winning season where he was flying down that right-hand side. We had Julian Gray on the left. He's a real skillful young player and probably didn't fulfil his potential, and it didn't work out for him at Tottenham. There must be something about young Palace players going to Tottenham, John Bostock being one, and it not working out, because after Tottenham he ended up going to Portsmouth, Fulham, Aston Villa, Cardiff, QPR, Newcastle, back to QPR, and ending at Swansea. I mean, he went through more clubs than Katie Price has been through husbands, so it's a shame he never fulfilled that potential. That season was a great season, 2004-2005, even though it's a real source of frustration, I think, for Palace fans, because there were so many moments where we could have stayed up, and then ultimately we got relegated on the last day against Charlton. And, you look back, even though Ian Dowie then went north to Charlton, there are fun memories of the Dowie era, the way we went up from being near the bottom at Christmas. But ultimately, maybe Dowie wasn't the manager we thought he was, looking at where his career went after he left us. Sometimes I see him popping up on Sky Sports. He makes about as much sense as Paul Merson. But, real frustrating one. And looking back on that era, when players come back, like I said, we've been doing dream teams. Gonzalo Sorondo, really good defender, who I think it would be more available. We got suspended quite a bit as well. We could have stayed up. That's my big one. But we didn't. But still fun memories. And I kind of forgive you, Wayne Routledge. Next shirt. This one is from the 2013-2014 season. This one on the back, we scored 2. And that is a reference to Wilfried Zaha's 2 goals at the AMAX Stadium against Brighton in the playoffs. They've been given it the big un. Did something very naughty in our dressing room before the game. And then Zaha came and scored 2 goals. 2 really good goals that got us back in the Premier League. And Simon Jordan had long gone then. We'd had our second administration. So getting back in the Premier League seemed miles away. I mean, we thought we were going out of business. Palace fans had to Palace fans were outside London, outside Lloyds Bank, to try and force Lloyds Bank to sell the ground to Parish. We really, really were under hours from going out of business, and then a few years later we were in the Premier League. So it was dream stuff, and to do it against our rivals. So a very special shirt that on our return to the Premier League, and ultimately that year Holloway left early on. I've got good memories of Holloway. Some Palace fans not a fan, but I don't really understand how, when he got us promoted, and I always remember his little dance in the dressing room at Brighton. Pulis came in, and obviously he kept us up. We had a great season. Christian Ball, who can ever forget Luis Suarez's tears? I still play that clip back sometimes, just for a little bit of viewing pleasure. So yeah, that's my Palace shirt. One more shirt. I thought I'd go out of Palace for this one. It's a Real Madrid shirt. Now, any football fan can look back on the players they've had: Zidane, the Ronaldos, Steve McManaman. And it's just a special shirt. Again, like I said, football shirts take you back different times in your life. This was presented to me on a train before my stag do. I didn't know where I was going. Turns out we went to Madrid, and actually it was the weekend of the European Cup final against Liverpool, the one where Karius did the blunder. Not a good video, this, for Liverpool fans, me referencing Christian Ball in that game. Really good. I remember we were on a Spanish bar overlooking the city, and they were coming on the rooftop bus from Madrid after winning it. But I wish I could remember more of it. That's been my football shirt collection. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Please click on other videos. The Wilfried Zaha Man United flop exposing the myth. Had some really good feedback on that one. One really interesting message I received. But most importantly, do your own video or take a picture of your shirt collection. Click the link to the Just Giving page I'm providing here. Tag and challenge your friends in. # get your shirts out for the NHS. Thank you.